Hi, hola, my name is Alejandra Sepulveda and this is Public Health with Ale. Welcome. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so so you can keep track of all my new videos when I do upload. And if you haven't already, also follow me on my Instagram account, Public Health with Ale, as well as my TikTok account to follow on with any of my new content coming up. This video, I know I haven't been here for a little while, but the last video I uploaded was sharing my experience at the Watershed Steward Academy with the Anacostia Watershed Society, which was amazing. If you haven't already watched it, it's gonna be right here. Or you can just look through my YouTube channel and it should be the last video right before this one. Anyways, for this video, we're gonna talk a little bit more about my overall recap with the past spring 2024 semester as a master's in public health student online. And we're also going to talk a little bit more about my recap, my experience this past summer 2024 semester. So this is my first summer as a grad student. Let's get started. All right, starting up with spring 2024. If you guys remember my video going through study blog for that semester, it's this video, but basically I probably give you a little sneak peek of what my semester looked like. I basically took two classes, one called Translation into Public Health Practice, and then the other one was the continuation of population assessment. So this one was population assessment too. To start with, okay, translation into public health practice. The professors were all right. I mean, we had our challenges. They were not the best. The class was not interactive as I thought it was gonna be. But basically, this class talked more about the different frameworks and models that are used for health assessment and needs assessment. In this class, we really focus on the MAP 2.0 framework, which is, and I'm gonna basically read it to you guys so I don't get it wrong. MAP 2.0 is mobilizing for action through planning and partnership. So MAPP, which was developed by the National Association of County and City Health Officials, or NACHO, in 2001. And this is the most widely used framework and reputable framework for community health improvement. And the 2.0 version, it builds upon its predecessor, emphasizing the importance of community engagement, data-driven assessment, and a focus on health equity. MAP 2.0 is streamlined from 6 to 3 phases and from 4 to 3 new and revised assessment tools, and includes new resources and activities. So it basically, yeah, it's a framework. And in this class, we had a big group project to deliver at the end of the semester. But we kind of submitted it into parts. Like part one, we had a deadline. Part two, for that, we had a deadline. And each deadline was basically one of those sections or segments from the framework. So like the first one was identifying what's the target community or the target audience, which in our case it was the USF community, and then we would identify like the key stakeholders, the steering committee. We would identify then what were the major like health issues, and that was really like whatever the group decided. I mean, we had to like run the data, which, let me just say this, I had my fair challenges with the group I had that semester, but let's just leave it at that. I don't want to say too much, but you can get it. We had to run our data. My group, we had a lot of challenges with this damn data. Sorry, but anyways, the data. And anyways, we identify HIV as one of the main issues, and two or one of the groups or like demographic groups among FAU students. And this was also, sorry, I didn't mention it before, this was based on an actual data set that was provided by our professors, done through an actual like survey and study in the school. So this is like actual data. which is really cool. It's just we had a lot of challenges. And at the end, we basically had to put all these different pieces of the project into like a big presentation. And that's it. That's it for that class. But that class was alright. I mean, I think honestly there would have been more practical and interactive ways of kind of learning how to use the map framework, or maybe it was just my experience because of the group I had. But overall, sometimes it's just hard to put into practice things that are a little bit abstract, like frameworks and like models. The ones that get it. But that's an issue that I've encountered before with other models, gold standard models, frameworks, you call it. But you know, we have to learn them, we have to use them. So there it is. Second class, Population Assessment 2, we basically went through a little bit more deep into environmental issues or environmental topics. So we touched a lot on like indoor air quality, some of the standards that are used in organizations to prevent injuries, illnesses, and all of that among workers, environmental, like global issues. And we also touched upon a little bit more in water. Thankfully, I had the same group I had for the first part of this class, so Population Assessment 1, and I loved my group. Obviously, I already said that from the other videos, and we had I think 2 group projects. One of them was a presentation, the other one was going around our communities basically and taking pictures of what we saw relating to the topic that we chose, which was transportation. If you hear snoring, those are my dogs because they're here with me, of course. And the projects were really cool. The other project, which was a presentation, was more about presenting this issue in the set community. Oh, hello. Oh wow, I haven't been playing. Wow, I can't do. Okay, I can't do too much. I was just trying to be like a little bit aesthetic, and as you can see, I can't like handle this. I completely forgot to change the background, but it's alright. You guys were like looking at my PDF where I literally read about map framework. Anyways, there we go. The other presentation was basically about advocating for change, and the topic we chose was adolescent physical activity. And again, this was based on data, more specifically data from the 2030 health standards, health objectives. And we made a presentation as if we were presenting it to a group of like officials, parents, and all of that, of why we need to implement this project and program that we like made up basically. It went really well. We got a really good grade on that, and for the other presentation we also did. And for that class, as you could see on my study blog, I had like a big final exam, which also went really well. And well, we're over that. But most importantly, before the end of that semester, and because of that class, and also because of another project that I had prior to that, I discovered this new passion of mine, or I guess it was always there and I always knew it was there, but I think it got clearer for me to know that I am really interested in environmental topics, and specifically water issues, for now water, but in general environmental topics. I really have an interest for like water protection, drinking water, clean water. And I thought, well, you know what, I feel like I can change my concentration. So I emailed my advisor and I was like, okay, I found this other concentration basically within the online program. Is there any way I can change to it, like for the next semester, like to start taking specific classes for the next semester? And we had a meeting, and basically she told me, you did this at the right time, because this past summer, so this summer 2024, I would have started taking classes in the epidemiology concentration, and basically like it wouldn't been as bad, but it would have been like, okay, you lost your money and your time, because this epidemiology specific classes, they would have not count towards your new concentration. It's called health, safety, and environment, but basically environmental focus. And I'm really excited. I basically made the change. It took nothing. They had to like signed this form. I put my name, signed it as well, knowing that I was changing into this concentration. And I spoke with the faculty mentor for that concentration. She told me a little bit more about it. And I told her more specifically what my interests were and all of these different things, and also just meeting with her because I didn't know this person. And it was great. So now I'm in a new concentration, health, safety, and environment. And I'm really excited about it. And I'm really excited about the fact that even though like, yeah, I went into like, okay, epidemiology, and this is the mindset that I went into the program, I feel like it's never too late to change your mind and be like, okay, this is what I like, so let me change into it. Especially when you can still make the change without any harsh repercussions like losing your money or something like that. That's all. But basically, your girl now is in health, safety, and environment, not epidemiology. Obviously, all these things overlap. Epidemiology will still be there. All of these things are all interconnected, but my focus would be a little bit more on environmental topics, and I'm really, really excited. Summer 2024. This past summer, or we're still in summer, but I ended my classes July 19. I obviously was a shorter semester. I took 2 classes. One of them is called public health emergencies, or public health emergencies in large populations. That's like the whole name. And the other one is called health, safety, and environment management and administration, or HSE management and administration. The first class, let's start with that one. The first class was great. First of all, I was assigned to this group. It was great. These people were like on it, prepare. One of them was actually like a literal professional on what the class was. I mean, I think he's an emergency doctor. He's been like all over the world helping in health emergencies, which is like, think of natural disasters, refugee camps, basically a war, anything that happens that people are displaced and mobilizing. Like, he had to be there basically, which is really cool. And his knowledge was really helpful into not just the class, but just in general, like public health wise. And that was really cool. Basically all about, again, public health emergencies, complex humanitarian crisis. We touched on from the beginning how to do the initial assessment, site planning, shelter planning. We used all of these resources from the United Nations, like Refugee Commissioner website, anything related to like the ONU, all of these different resources that have to do with planning for or managing a public health emergency. We also touched on like the different issues that arise or they just happen during a public health emergency. So like, for example, where are you going to get your water? How is water going to be stored? How much water each person at a refugee camp, for example, deserve to get per person per day, right? Like, we're talking about liters, we're talking about per family, per household, all of these different details, which was really cool. We talked about how many square meters, like space wise, each individual deserved, like the standard for them to live where they live. All of these things that you hear me talking about it, of course, and they're on paper, they're supposed to happen, but we know that this is not the reality of the time. Most of the time, this is not the reality, but this is how things are supposed to be working. This is how things are supposed to be executed. But yeah, and we also talked about nutrition in refugee camps or during public health emergencies as well. Like, again, how much food does one individual needs to have per day, depending on their needs, which groups are priority, which foods are supposed to be getting into the camp, how much food is supposed to be getting into the camp, where is the food coming from? So is the refugee camp in a host country where they are in a similar culture and they eat the same foods? Is the host country even like capable of providing this? Because one of the things that, like, I knew this, but I never really put it into perspective, but a lot of the refugee populations are actually hosted in countries that are really, really poor. I mean, really poor, and we have a massive amount of refugees, and that number keeps growing, unfortunately, because of all that it's going on around the world. And it's gonna keep growing as conflicts, wars, and natural disasters. Obviously, climate change is gonna affect that, has an effect on it. This number of refugees and displaced people is gonna keep growing, unfortunately. But yeah, this class was really eye-opening. It was amazing. I loved the class. We had a couple of group papers basically, where we talked about health services that should be provided for refugees. So most of our class was focused on refugee camps, and our scenario for a lot of these papers and group papers or whatever was the conflict, not the conflict, but the situation in Haiti and Dominican Republic border. So if you're familiar, the situation that's happening in Haiti, we have some of the refugee camps along in the border, and that was our a scenario, but obviously is a real thing. It's nothing made up, but we were basing most of our papers on that situation, which really benefited my group because I'm from there, I have knowledge from there, and even though I've never been to the border, I do know the situation, and I'm more familiar with the situation than a lot of other people that were in the class. But we had papers talking about how we were going to implement health services. So think about vaccinations, immunizations, let's say surgeries, tending to injured people, all of these different things. We talked also about how programs and services will be implemented to take care of sexual reproductive health, nutrition, mental health, which is a really big thing. And all of these things are taking into consideration aid workers, host countries, the same people that are in the refugee population. How can we provide them and equip them to basically feel useful, feel that they're helping their own people? Because remember, a lot of those people might be they are refugees, but these people had a life prior to whatever happened in their country, and a lot of these people are professionals. A lot of these people have skills that are useful in a refugee camp. And we even talked about, okay, so how do we even put together an aid staff? How does that even happen? Where do you recruit people? Right now, there's a lot of organizations that you have a lot of volunteers that could do that work, but there's also the portion of training, paying, and using the people that you have in the refugee camp as well. And obviously, the most important part, using the refugee camp population to be the ones guiding you through what they want. Obviously, what they want sometimes it's not going to happen all the time, but instead of implementing things because this is best practice, but we should always keep their opinion and their needs to be the forefront of whatever is implemented in a refugee camp. And that should happen in any setting. If you're implementing anything in any community or whatever project you're doing, whatever research you're doing, whatever you're doing, you should keep the best interest of your target population in your forefront. Not your interests, but their interests. They're the ones that are going to benefit from this. Hopefully that's the intention, that they're the ones that are going to benefit from it, because if not, then things hit the fan, and that's what happens, right, when their interest is not in the forefront of things. But stop the ranting. I also wanted to mention that all of us had this paper that we had to work on, and our title had to get approved, and it had to relate to public health emergencies, anything that we wanted to talk about in relation to public health emergencies. And obviously, because I discovered my new interest in water, I chose something related to water. And my paper was titled, I'm gonna put it right here so you guys can see the title and a little bit about it. But it was titled Enhancing Sanitation and Hygiene Practices, which is a study of culturally competent interventions in refugee camps. And this paper basically talked about studying the current WASH interventions, WASH or WASH, which means water, sanitation, and hygiene interventions across refugee camps, and identifying culturally sensitive practices that enhance the way all the things are basically managed in a refugee camp in relation to sanitation, water, and hygiene, which it was eye-opening. I mean, the things that I researched on, what I read, it was amazing. I focused on 3 refugee camps, and I can actually link my paper if you guys want to read it. It was really nice just investigating about this topic, and it really reassured to me that I'm very, very interested in water issues. Um, on the other hand, the things that I did research on and that I read were kind of sad just because I know water crisis, water insecurity, the lack of hygiene, and the risk and the increase of infectious diseases is insane in refugee camps, and that's exactly what the statistics showed and the studies that I was able to find showed. The other class was health, safety, and environment. Like I mentioned, management and administration. I'm just gonna say it this way: this class was boring. I mean, the topic was alright, but the class was just not interactive. The professor is like great, but it was just not interactive. And you would say like, oh, but like you take classes online, like how are they interactive? Like my other classes have been interactive, not because I've had group projects or anything like that, but they have been interactive with videos, with the assignments, with whatever. This class was not. I mean, at all. If I had to choose a class that was not interactive, this would be my first one. The second one would be the translation into public health practice, like I mentioned to you guys. But this class was, like I said, and what the class was about was studying techniques and programs and all of these different things that basically keep workers safe from injuries, illnesses, and anything that had to do with that within organizations. And the other things we study a little bit more about, or that we focus on about, was I have to read this, the standards basically, and I'm gonna put a screenshot of like each of them so like you have an idea of what I'm talking about. This is really abstract to explain. It was very abstract to read. It was just like really hard to picture how these things are put in place, but they are, because this is how organizations work when it comes to the health and well-being, occupational health basically, of their workers in the organization, and like the way they produce things, or they're supposed to be. Some organizations actually don't like meet the standards, but like that's another conversation. Basically, the standards are ISO 9001, ISO 45001, ISO 14001, and ANSI Z10 or NCC 10. That's how I usually call that one. But yeah, that's that with that class. I don't have anything else to say. It was, like I said, all right. And moving on to next semester, I'm taking 3 classes, and it's gonna be pretty interesting. For so long, I have been taking only 2 classes, and I don't really know how 3 classes are gonna feel, but that's what I'm doing for next semester, and that's what I plan to do in the spring of 2025. So let's see what happens. But the classes that I will be taking, which I'm really excited for, are global issues. I'm also taking environmental laboratory, and I'm gonna be taking sustainable water resource management. And I'm really excited. That last class that I mentioned, I actually is from another like college, so the College of Sustainability within USF, and I had to like basically apply for it. I mean, not like apply for it, but I had to like ask for permission to take it because it's not within my college. So I had to say why I need to take it. and I'm really excited for it. I try to reach out to someone in that college to know like what the syllabus was looking like for this semester, to see like how busy I'm gonna be for that class. And I think there's like one group project, but like I'm not really sure because they basically sent me this syllabus from like a previous semester, so I really have no idea if this is gonna be the way it is this coming fall. Well, we shall see. I'll keep you guys updated. I'm really excited for the class and for the other class as well. As you can see, fully environmental now. That's the way it's gonna be until I graduate. I'm gonna be pretty busy. I anticipate that, like busier, and yeah, I mean, let's just wait and see what happens. Oh, my semester starts August 26th. So funny enough, like I didn't know I had that much vacation until like the last week of May. For some reason, I didn't check like the overall like school calendar. So I really didn't know that I had like over a month of like vacation before the fall semester started, which is really cool. And yeah, I'm just like trying to enjoy my little break now and in a new city. I mean, you guys already know where I live already, so it should be pretty interesting next semester. But yeah, that's really it for now. So thank you for watching this long update with me. I hope that you guys are doing well, enjoying your summer. If you're taking classes, Romeo, you need to stop. That's my dog. If you are taking summer classes, I hope that you're almost done by the time you see this video, or that you are already done and enjoying your summer break. If you're taking fall classes, let me know which ones are those. And also, if you are graduating this semester, congratulations, because there's no better feeling than that. I already can't wait to graduate. But I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye bye.